This is the plaintiff, Kenneth Goodhue. He says the defendant, his ex-fiancée, owes him money for the engagement ring he purchased for her, which she refuses to return. He's made numerous attempts to retrieve his property. She's disrespecting him by keeping it, doesn't care, and he's here suing her for the ring's $3,400 value. This is the defendant, Lynn. She says she and the plaintiff hit it off after his wife of 35 years passed away. So she moved in with him and things were going great. He told her he didn't want to get married again because his wife had just passed. Then a few months later, he bought her a ring as a present. He didn't propose to her, it was just a gift. Unfortunately, the plaintiff got into the relationship too soon after losing his wife. They split up and she told him she was going to sell the ring to pay the rent. Now he's turning around and suing her, claiming it was an engagement ring? Please. She's accused of refusing a ring return.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, these litigants were engaged, and now the plaintiff wants the defendant to pay up for the engagement ring that she won't return. But the defendant says the plaintiff's wife of 35 years died, and this was just a friendship ring. It's the case of with this ring, I thee sue.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. So according to you, the defendant is your ex-fiance, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes.
when were you engaged?
June of 2014.
Okay. Now, you started seeing her when?
Approximately a few years before that.
When did you start
I mean,
seeing
a few months before that, I'm sorry.
When did you two start seeing each other, ma'am?
March of 2014.
All right. Now, you have been married to someone for 35 years, correct?
Yes,
And unfortunately, she passed away.
yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry for your loss. When did she pass away?
In December 4th of 2014.
Well,
13.
13, right. And then you started seeing him when? 2 months later?
I had an acquaintance with him, so I kind of saw him, heard about his wife dying, passing, and I just called him up, whatever, around January, I guess.
And you started dating?
Not right away.
Okay.
We kind of just talked a little bit, saw each other, and then he was a clamor, or still is.
A clamor? Is that what you
Clamor, yes. I'm
You're
sorry.
a clamor? What's that mean?
A bayman, a commercial shell fisherman.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where do you do it?
Oyster Bay, Long Island.
Okay, so go on.
So then we started, after that point, I guess that's.
Did you
that
move
was
in
around
with him?
March. Yes.
What month did you move in with him?
Gosh, it was getting warmer. So probably around April, May.
Okay.
So it was quick.
Yeah, I'll say it was quick. It was 4 months after the death of a wife that you had for 35 years. I'd say that's quick.
Well, I knew her 3 years
I don't care how long you knew
prior,
her. You know,
but
a
then-
human being needs to
right.
process the grief and all that. Anyway,
Right.
so you move in, and then what happens?
Things were pretty nice. We were having fun. I mean, I was doing something very different. I wasn't working at the time. I was fighting for disability. And so, we had a great time. But I would say for the first 6 months or so, he surprised me with a gift of a ring. Actually, the moment he gave me the ring, he said basically that we wouldn't get married because he just lost his wife, which I understood.
You wouldn't get married right away?
right away.
Well, we never made any plans. There was no engagement party. There was no promise of an engagement party.
But
or
what was the
wedding.
ring? The ring
It
was
was more like a gift,
more like a gift.
I had to. I kind of.
Does
talked to
anybody
him.
have a picture of the ring?
I do.
Can I
but
see it?
I don't have it. No,
wanted
it's
to
on an email.
Intervene here
Does
if
any?
I could.
No, don't intervene while I'm talking. That's
excuse me.
rude.
Give me a minute.
No worries. You take a look for that and you intervene. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that we were in our late 50s when I proposed to her. And I said,
How did you
well,
propose?
I said, well, we're not going to have children or anything.
No.
Because
How did you propose?
Well,
Not what things you were saying. How did you propose?
We weren't in any rush to get married, so we could
That's
take
still
our
not
time.
an answer. I'm asking you exactly how you proposed.
I said, well, being that we agreed that we were soulmates and, compatible, I loved her. And I said, I want to marry you.
And then you gave her a box?
We also agreed on
Wait,
spending the
and
rest.
then you gave her a box with a ring in it?
Yes, I opened it
And
up
where were you when that happened?
in my apartment.
Was it a surprise?
Yes,
And was she happy?
yes.
Let me
just
see
have
the
the picture of
picture
the
you were
frame.
going to tell me. Wow, that's pretty sure looks like an engagement ring. So he tells you we're not going to get married right away, okay? But he obviously mentions getting married. If he says not right away,
Who asks someone to get married and says, "But we're not going to get married right away"? I mean, you give a ring, you're ready to get married. No?
well, I don't know, you took the ring. It's not like
Yeah,
you said,
I mean,
take
the
it back.
ring.
Take it back, and when you're ready, we'll do this. Because frankly, it was 6 months after his wife
was it?
died,
You know,
and it is too soon.
no.
So you took the ring, and then you wore the ring, right? And how many years did you wear the ring?
What, 2 years?
2 years. You guys were together. And you were living together.
Yeah.
Right, and you walked around with what looks to anyone with connected brain cells like an engagement ring. And are you suggesting that you weren't engaged?
We didn't really have a party. We never talked about it.
Okay, not having a party doesn't mean you're not engaged.
But nobody, like my family, knew it was, you know.
How did they know? What'd you do with the ring when you walked in? Turned it underneath? What'd you do?
No, I actually didn't say anything. And my sister said, "Oh, you have a ring." That's how big of a moment it was.
Really, the size of the moment doesn't matter. What matters is if this was an engagement ring. And you know that, and that's maybe why you're saying it's not an engagement ring. Do you have any proof of the purchase of the ring?
Yes, I do.
Let me see that. Okay, I could buy this at Walgreens and fill it out myself. Where's the actual proof of the payment of the ring?
This is the gentleman who sold it to me right here, my friend Leonard Montefiore.
Oh, come on up, sir.
Len, get up.
Please?
Can't hear too well.
Should I go?
Yeah.
No, I'll go over to you. Don't worry. Can you hear me now?
You can come closer. I have
Closer?
to pull it. You know,
No, don't worry. Don't worry. How old are you?
I'm going to be 93 years old.
Oh, heavens bless you.
I don't look it, but I'm going to be
Don't look it.
93.
You're quite spry for 93. All right.
All right.
Now, back to business. What do you do for a living? Are you still working?
No, I've been retired 50 years.
From what? Oh, you've been retired for 50 years?
I retired at 42.
Good for you. What did you used to do?
I was in a jewelry business. I used to manufacture on 47th Street in New York.
Okay. All right. Now, back to the case.
You should be so lucky.
I should be. I can't be so lucky. I'm not going to live to be 100 and whatever. All right. So did he buy a ring from you?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you get that ring? You got it from somebody who's still in the
I got it from a friend of mine in the business.
Do you remember how much he paid you?
$3,400.
How do you remember that it was $3,400?
My memory is 100%.
Okay.
He's got the copy of the other half of the receipt that when
let me
we
see.
exchanged it.
That doesn't really prove anything. His testimony proves something more than that. All right, so do you remember the diamond? If I showed you a picture of it, do you remember like the clarity, the quality, anything, or not really?
It was a carat and a half.
What'd you do with the ring?
Well, about I'd say July of 2017.
You guys broke up when?
Well, we kind of it was a mutual thing. We weren't getting along. After about 6 months of being together, there was fighting, there was all kinds of problems.
Okay, who leaves the
2016,
apartment?
The plaintiff left the apartment mid-2017.
So you guys lived in the same apartment for another 6 months?
We were in separate bedrooms. We just shared
me out of my own room and bought me a futon to sleep on for a year and a half, which was totally uncomfortable. Why she confiscated my bed and room.
Why would you do that, though? Why wouldn't you?
Because, well, I wanted to try to actually reconcile with her,
okay.
and it didn't work, and I thought I could, and it just came to that.
Okay. Did you live there a year and a half after you broke up?
Yes.
But let me just
She
ask you
didn't
a
give me the
question. For
ring
that
back.
year and a half while you're living there, are either of you dating other people?
No.
Are you?
Not me.
Not interested.
I'm still not dating anyone.
So, okay, he wants you to know he's not dating anyone. So you just coexist, hey, how you doing? And then you each just walk into your rooms
That's
and you...
basically two ships passing in the night.
Wow.
So she wore the ring for 2 years. Is this an engagement ring?
I don't think it is, because I think he has to actually propose to her in order for it to be.
But if he says, will you marry me, but I don't want to set a date right now, is that a proposal?
I don't think it is. I think he should have been more clear with what it was, for sure, but I don't think it sets it up to be an actual proposal.
Fair enough. What do you say?
If she accepted the proposal, that's an engagement ring.
Okay. Who's going to be the tiebreaker?
Yeah, if she accepted it because it was implied and she was under the belief that it wasn't a engagement.
She's wearing it for 2 years and they have no date?
Yeah, she should keep it.
So it's not an engagement ring then?
I'm saying it is an engagement ring.
Well, you got two inconsistent things going, my friend, going inside the courtroom.
So at some point you can't continue this way, and so you move out?
I moved out because I had an offer from this gentleman in a studio apartment in his house.
All right, so you decide to move out, and you tell her, listen, I can't go on like this, you know, we got to get out.
Well, at that point, she was in the process of getting in an apartment, but it was just going to take time for the other people to get out. So at that point, she had stayed there 3 more months after I had left.
Did she pay rent?
No, she paid nothing. Not that I know of.
And then according to you, the landlord started bothering you.
Yes.
How did the landlord bother you?
Locking me out, vandalizing my car, cursing,
I didn't
like
agree with
yelling and screaming till all hours of the night, cursing at me. I had the cops there every day. It was insane.
Did you pay the landlord the rent?
I paid him $350.
But the rent's $1,700.
Right.
Right.
But I talked to him and we came to an agreement, and he actually evicted me.
Oh, that
We
doesn't
went
sound
to
like
a
an
court.
agreement. It sounds like
Well,
they didn't want you there.
This was the agreement. At the eviction, he said, okay, you can stay there till the 28th, because that's when I was getting my apartment.
So where's the ring?
I stole it. Prior to that, let me back up a little bit. The plaintiff and his friend actually helped me try to sell the ring.
Is that accurate?
He offered her some money for it, and she refused.
And then they
So at the time, you didn't want the ring back?
No, I didn't
This is when
want
you're
the
still
ring.
trying to woo
I wanted
her.
nothing to do with the ring, you know. I wanted
When
her.
did you decide you wanted her?
Yeah.
All right. And now when did you decide that you wanted the ring back?
For the past couple of years, I've been trying to correspond with her through texts and phone calls. And
Do you
she
have any
ignored me.
texts to show
I
me?
even told her,
Do you
no,
have any? No.
I don't have
Okay.
them.
So they tried to help you sell the ring, but you don't sell it. And then when do you sell it?
Well, they did sell it. I got money, cash in my hands, and I put it in my account. There was no talk about, I want money. You know what I'm saying? It was just the next
didn't sell
day.
it.
Hold on.
Lenny came and called me and said, oh, the guy reneged. I need the money back.
And then what did you do? You gave Lenny back the money for
Yeah, I
it?
gave him back the cash, and then he gave
You
me
gave
back
who the
ring.
cash?
No,
Ken
no.
or Len?
Len.
That deal doesn't happen, and then you end up selling it for how much?
Well, I went to 4 different appraisers, and all of them told me that the main stone was cracked. So the ring was useless, and they gave me
Useless?
Well, they
That's a
couldn't-
little much.
They couldn't cut the ring back down, you know, because it was cracked in half.
Okay, but so what's the answer to me? What did you sell the ring for?
$800.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why should you be able to keep an engagement ring?
Because he let me.
When did you sell it?
Sometime in August,
Of what year?
2017. Kind of like a month after he left. Because I needed the money in order to pay rent and
That's an interesting answer. Because the law says that a gift in contemplation of marriage has to be returned to the giver if the marriage doesn't happen. And we certainly have that situation here. What she's saying is, fine, Judge, that may be the case. However, in this case, he let me keep the ring. And he let me keep it for years. And it's just now, because you guys broke up in 16. And now all of a sudden, he decides, you know what? I think getting the ring back or getting $3,400 or $3,000 would give me closure. At the time that she sells the ring, it's her ring. You had let her keep it. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, give me back my ring. Well, you told me I could keep it, so I sold it. You know, after she's counted on your statement, keep it, she's counted on it in the sense that she's owned it all that time. A year and a half, you didn't ask for it while you were living with her. And she ends up selling it. And now you say, oh, by the way, now that you sold it for $800, I want my ring back. No. Verdict for the defendant.
Well, it didn't work for the plaintiff. Mr. Goodhue, you don't seem too happy. If you'll step over here,
not
please.
happy.
What are you thinking right now?
Well, I'm thinking how she treated me, which was horrible, and what she put me through more grief and aggravation in the 3 years I was with her than I was in my whole life.
Yeah.
And I didn't give her the ring as a gift. I gave her as a marriage proposal. And whatever happened after that was through sheer emotions and everything else. But I did try to get the ring back from her, and she ignored me. So,
Wow.
that's what happened.
Sorry about it.
She
That's the
doesn't care
judge's
about
decision.
anybody but herself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good day. Okay. Well, Lynn has come out of the courtroom. What are you thinking about what just happened?
Well, I think it was a good thing because that's exactly what the judge said at the end was exactly what happened. How can you ask for a ring back when you let me have it already?
Yeah.
And tried to help me sell it.
Didn't work out too well, did it?
No, it didn't, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Harvey, what do you think?
Just so you know, Doug, the laws are varying in most states, but the trend is that if it's an engagement ring, it doesn't matter who breaks up with who. If the guy is the one that gives it to the woman, the guy gets the ring back.